It's Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo. For Labi Brown, as always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Nima Akashat Zabiri. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning. Hello.
Okay.
I don't know. Fine. Good morning. Hello.
How's everything?
I'm very fine. I'm grateful to God. I'm just there. Just okay like that.
Nothing happened, nothing interesting.
No gist. No family gist, no work gist, no rice
Christmas
gist.
is coming. You're selling rice.
Oh.
You have you?
The store is very full. I'm very busy. I'm packing rice.
Only rice. Queue for rice.
But she has
rice
already
came and you didn't tell me.
I said it too.
She has said it. Maybe you were not on the show.
I'm booking my own, please.
Please, I'm booking. Why would she say how?
No, don't worry. As we are doing as quickly as possible, we'll replace before.
Okay. Please, I've been looking for rice now. Thank God I didn't carry the money to another place.
I'm very good, though. I'm grateful to God.
You can understand its own.
Yeah. It's TVC wardrobe.
Are you
When
spotting
after I
the
sat, yes, hair by BC. Hair by BC. I just told myself it's only. Yes.
So how are you?
I'm good. Yesterday I had like a 3-hour session with my accountant. And when I finished the conversation, man, tax liability no be today.
My sister.
I'm filing every month now. I'm not waiting, but I did not do it all through last year. And apparently it's automated. So my not filing withholding taxes, maybe I should have registered enterprise. Because this limited liability thing, it was a whole lot, and I didn't want to. I told him, I said, let's just, and I'm happy my tax consultant is a very straightforward person, and he's not someone that was saying cut corners. I said, don't worry, let me pay, so that the way I will rake for government,
when they don't do the road.
yes,
I did exactly the same thing. On I think my appointment with him was on Monday or Tuesday. I had a very, very lengthy meeting. I said, listen, end of the year, let's file our taxes. I don't want any kind of
issues.
Let us know how much is my tax. Make I clean. I'll pay it. Put the documentation together.
So did they do that for enterprise as well?
No. It's different. You're paying only to the states when you are an enterprise, but you are paying federal.
But I can get a tax officer to talk about what I need to pay, or it's not needed.
Let
me dodge now.
The penalties, what I'm dealing with now is paying penalties.
Yes, it's penalties.
Skip to
your tax is very important. So that when we are breaking on TV, no matter you go and check our books, we are paying some
tax. He that must come to equity. Come with clean hands.
How are you doing this?
I'm doing amazing. So I'm still talking about the care mentorship program. Yeah, for January. We have started the class already for classes in progress for September. I do it twice a year now, every January and September. And it's just helping professionals and individuals to find clarity in different aspects of life. Some people come to me and they say they want to be able to find clarity for their workspace. They want to get a job that they enjoy. They want to be able to harness their talents. Is the care mentorship for you? And some say their relationships are not working out so well. They want to have clarity in that regard. Any aspect of life, we have tools that would help you. And we're talking about it for January.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you were saying before we came on set that you need a break. I mean, I was telling myself, I really need to just get away from somewhere.
Yeah.
Just lock out everybody and just
just stay.
Because there's so much emotional trauma that is going through my mind. I just need that getaway. Because Christmas is coming now.
You just came back
to back.
That was traveling isn't.
You traveled alone.
That was
early this year. What month?
And there was a lot of.
There wasn't a rest.
It wasn't time out.
I was doing time out.
Visiting family.
But within Lagos, within Nigeria, there are several places to go. I know that Ibom Golf Course, I saw the video of that place, and I think it's just nature, water, green. Is all you
just
need.
Relaxes you.
Yeah, there's Akwa Ibom is beautiful.
In Lagos, there
are places in Lagos too that you can go to. Yes.
Water.
Once you're in Lagos, you're
still in Lagos.
My mind is not resting.
Ekpe is beautiful.
It's not that I'm in Lagos. I will not rest.
But when you travel outside, don't you want to see places?
No.
That's where you don't rest.
Not outside. Ibom is Akwa Ibom.
Maldives or Seychelles.
Yes.
Resting.
So
Akwa Ibom is a place I like to
Yes,
go.
Akwa Ibom.
Because that Lagos, once I'm in Lagos, Lagos, you will not rest. You have to leave Lagos.
And leave your phone.
Breathe clean air.
All of you running away from your responsibilities.
All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
While he was there, he made the promise that there'll be brighter days ahead of Nigeria, that his administration, if elected in the next year's poll, would bring brighter days for us as a country. He also mentioned that the election next year is a fight not to leave Nigeria to looters. In the campaign, he spoke about how he would be building up on what has already been done on ground. The president also lauded his democratic credentials, his foresight, ability to take bold decisions, and capacity for economic management. That's from the president talking about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Essentially, it was a successful campaign based on the pictures, and a lot of people were saying that a lot of supporters came out for him, and talking about how they are going to win the election and it will be a good thing for Nigeria.
All right, so 6 bureau de change operators have been arrested by the Lagos State Police over the alleged kidnap of a 3-year-old colleague's, for their colleague's 8-year-old daughter. So what happened was that they tied this child hands and legs and they put her in a sack. And suspects were Nasir Mohammed, 29 years old, Abdullahi Usman, 30, Saidu Abbas, 32, Abubakar, 25, just young people. So they kidnapped. They don't give us a motive or why they kidnapped, but the child was able to escape and they identified the house where he was taken to.
Wow. And
they was able to make arrest in Lagos. So preliminary investigation reveals that the suspects were fellow members, colleagues of her father in bureau de change, and they don't know why that happened in the first place.
It will definitely be for money reasons.
I wanted to take the oil theft ship story. So, according to the Nation and the representative of the Ministry of Justice in Abuja, Mrs. Nkiruka Jones-Nebo, they said that the 27 in total, so 26 people, other suspects are standing trial. And they said one of the captain, one other person, on board the rogue vessel that entered the nation's maritime environment August 7th this year, are all standing trial. They stand the risk of being convicted to life imprisonment for, entering our territorial waters. And the Nigerian Navy said that vessel is 336 meters long and has the capacity to carry 3 million barrels of crude oil. And so I'm hopeful that, we'll see this conviction or we'll see the prosecution to a conclusive end and more others like that, so that this oil theft issue will be stamped with consequences and people will be deterred from.
Yeah, so the Federal High Court in Lagos yesterday granted an interim injunction restraining the federal government and Ethiopian Airlines from proceeding with the establishment of the proposed national carrier. We've been talking about how Nigeria is planning to have its own carrier, and everything was, going smoothly till then. But the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, yesterday said the refusal of local airlines to invest in the new national carrier pushed the federal government to solicit buying from foreign airlines, that's including Ethiopian Airlines, because they wanted to carry this on. And he said there was no going back on the delivery of the national carrier, that there have been attempts by some interest groups, including indigenous carriers, to abort the project through this legal intervention and going back and forth, but that will not happen. He said they had conversations and they went to 3 airlines. I want to quickly mention their names here. That was Air Peace, Asman Air, and Max Air, but they turned down the invitation, giving the excuse that the request was not formally conveyed to them. And so they had no other choice than to go to the foreign airlines to get a buy-in into this. They said, we also need foreign direct investment. So if the local airlines are not willing to participate and take part in this, local international airlines can be a part of this. What remains is that Nigeria owns 100% of the investment. Any other person is allowed to come in and invest.
Okay, we'd like to hear from the local players.
The airlines.
Yeah.
The Punch, Tinubu campaign, VIPs hit Plateau with 30 private and charter jets.
Sure.
Ngige hates ASU, responsible for half-pay lecturers, says lecturers. Soludo's position doesn't reflect Southeast stance, says Obi. Can meet Tinubu at Atiku Obi today. Court halts Nigeria Air Minister says project unstoppable. Expose criminals on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, IG tells communities. Road the change operators kidnap colleague's 8-year-old child in Lagos. Diri Carpet's minister for downplaying Bayelsa flood. Nigeria's population hits 260 million.
Really?
Okay, which story are we starting with?
Lecturers in different parts of the country yesterday protested against the no work, no pay policy that was imposed on them. They had resumed in October and they were paid quarter or half of their salary. And so they went out into the streets. They were joined by some civil societies and also University of Lagos students. So they had inscriptions and banner, which they wrote. Some of them wrote in Gige, be mindful of history. ASU will outlive you. Teachers teach the nation, but Ngige cheats the teachers. No work, no pay, and prorated salaries are punitive measures against renegotiated agreements, amongst others. And they kept on blaming Ngige for everything that has happened. I want to mention some of the things they said. They said Ngige is the agent of provocateur. He's the one instigating the government against ASU. He has inexplicable hatred against our union, and that is the reason he turned our struggle to a personal fight. It was Ngige who poisoned FEC against our union. Ngige started the campaign of no work, no pay policy, and also they said Ngige was the one who dragged ASU before the court and all those things that he did. And, you know, they are calling on the federal government to do something. They should not allow Nigerians see ASU as the devil, that they are not the ones who, they are not the ones who are stopping the education of their children, but the federal government needs to pay them so that they are happy to get back to class and teach these students.
All right, in the words of the late RDJ Avant, is it agent provocateur?
Provocateur.
Well,
All right.
the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs says that Nigeria have increased in population to 116 million.
216.
Sorry. 216 million in 2022. And they said that we are accounting for about 2.7% of the global population now. And they also said that the world's population has also gone up to 8 billion. And they projected just a few countries responsible for about half of this projection. So they said that Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Egypt, Ethiopia, India, Nigeria, Pakistan, the Philippines, and the United Republic of Tanzania are responsible for this projected increase in the world's population. And
It's a good thing.
Chief Executive Officer of the Center of Promotion of Private Enterprise, Dr. Muda Yusuf, now says that you see, this can be positive and then negative. But if we don't capitalize on this growth in the population to improve in certain infrastructure, facilities, motivate youth to employment, it can be counterproductive for us.
Exactly. I think
And
Mariam
it
was
can
saying
increase
so.
crime.
Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Still reviewing Punch. The Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has said that Governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Soludo, is his brother and friend, that he respects everything he has said. I mean, he was referring to what Professor Soludo had said, that if the investment Peter Obi left in Anambra is worthless, he was responding, saying that he's his brother, he's not going to object to what he's saying, but he has been successful as a trader. He also let us know what he can do as a professor. He was saying that he has his own opinion, and his opinion might not be the opinion of the entire state of Anambra. He believes that his position is definitely doesn't reflect the entire Southeast, but he respects his opinion because his opinion is a respected person and he's a governor. So I think that's pretty much what he said. And he also defended what he had left behind in Anambra State based on the fact that he left about, I think it was 75 billion naira left in the account, and he had invested 3.5 billion naira in international breweries, which unfortunately, according to Soludo, became worthless eventually. All right.
So I want to take the story. Of course, we know that there's insecurity challenges within the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. A few kidnappings have taken place there. Now, the Inspector General of Police, Usman Baba, has directed reorganizing of that security architecture within that area. The commissioners of police in charge of Lagos, Ogun, Oyo State Commands had a briefing on security, the security situation within Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. And IG Usman Baba was saying that they need information from the communities to mention the people. He said they should expose criminals, because obviously they are coming out from the communities that live off the expressway. Reacting to this, the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land, Ìbà Gani Adams, said that the Southwest security stakeholders are available to work with the police, that nowhere in the world do they confront challenges with only the legal with only government security agencies, that you cannot tackle insecurity with only government security agencies, and that they are willing to work with the police to ensure that there's better security on the highway. I'm going to appeal that the IG of police has a meeting with the hunters. The community people would only come and work with you. So he said, we have security coalition consisting of the vigilantes, the Agbekoyas, hunters, OPC, Ishokan Yoruba, and we are 11 groups that came together to structure in all the local government areas within the Yoruba land. I think it's important the government talks to add as many people as possible to see how we can secure more people. That's a very huge transit.
Moving on quickly to Daily Sun. Nobody should die for Atiku, Tinubu, Obi, others says Kuka. Obi hits back at Soludo. Kogi wins World Bank's Fiscal Transparency Revenue Mobilization Award. Naseni asks NUC, NBTE to review entrepreneurship curriculum to higher institutions. Kwari canvasses flexible energy transition for Nigeria and others. Will assure Tinubu's victory, pledge Buhari Lawan Adamu. Hope is back, Nigeria will be well, says APC candidate. Senatorial ticket, Akpabio runs to Supreme Court. 2023, editors resolve to put political actors on their toes. And we're not insensitive to security challenges on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, says IGP. Okay, which story?
Okay, major headline. Bishop Uka, I love the way he captioned this, says that, you know, nobody should die for Atiku, Obi, or Tinubu and other presidential aspirants. He says that since the lifting of the ban against campaigns was done on September 28th, we've seen intemperate language, intimidation, outright violence, particularly among supporters of all the presidential aspirants across parties. And I did a post about two spokespersons for both opposing parties yesterday, and you know the way they talk, their utterances, their language can be so incisive along religious and ethnic lines. And I like the way he captioned. He said, following the video of the presidential aspirant of the PDP and that of the APC at the VIP lounge at the airport in Abuja, you can see that they have familiarities and they are friends. If you go and kill yourself, go and die because of the way people talk and take sides on these issues, election will come and go, and people will remain. And so we should calm down and just put along our beliefs and conscience and let every other person live their lives. No fighting.
So the president of the Christian body, CAN, His Eminence Archbishop Daniel Oko, has said that they will be having a dialogue with all the major political parties towards the elections. According to him, this dialogue was important. I'm trying to get his exact words. According to him, the dialogue is to ensure that all the presidential candidates clearly understand the concerns of the Nigerian Christians and propose policy and programs to address them. They believe that this kind of respectful dialogue would give sincere conversation that will have everlasting solutions. So, and I think he's starting with Charitable Tinubu today. He's going to be speaking to all the major candidates across board. I would really like to hear about the conversation, because I know that they're adamant that they are still opposed to the Muslim ticket. But however, this dialogue they've agreed to have might be able to change things and let people see the objectivity in everybody's campaign propositions.
Okay, so the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, yesterday said the National Universities Commission, NUC, National Board for Technical Education, MBTE, and National Commission for Colleges of Education, NCCE, has to review the curriculum for entrepreneurship courses in order to address unemployment of graduates. So he said some of the graduates were jobless because of misalignment between products of tertiary institutions and limited job market. He said there's an ongoing skills acquisition center nationwide, which is aimed at tackling this problem of unemployment and industrial development. However, they have to find a way to ensure that teachers or lecturers who lecture entrepreneurship must have businesses. They said there are no qualified lecturers who lecture in these universities. So you cannot not be a businessman and then be lecturing business. There's no way you're going to impact that knowledge. And so they have to review their curriculum to ensure that we have qualified lecturers who are in the field of business. And I agree with them. Also, aside from that, we also need to get a lot of inventory incentives given to businessmen. We know that in 5 years, if your business is lucky to survive, you are very lucky, and it also may die out in 10 years. So the government needs to do more to ensure that we have a lot of factories, and how you can do that is by supporting individuals who are into business. Give them a lot of incentives so that when you finish that, your industrial training, they have where to be absorbed. The students who are coming out have factories and manufacturing agencies to be absorbed in, and then you don't have people, because I have seen a lot of people who have been trained either by government or civil societies, and yet they don't have anywhere to work or deploy those skills.
They have to build ecosystems for these things.
Yes.
Not everybody must have something, even tomatoes. I mean,
not everybody can do business on their own.
Okay.
The GMD, I have a story. The Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian NNPC PLC, Malam Mele Kyari, has said that there's need to transition into flexible energy. He mentioned the fact that due to the Russia-Ukraine crisis, there's been a little bit of demand for crude, but that there needs to be more to be done. That most of Nigeria, actually, he said, that 970 million Africans lack access to clean cooking gas, and that there needs to be a migration energy mix. But one important information he gave was that funding the crude oil sector has become really tough, because many investors are not putting their money into anything that has to do with crude oil. They are rather putting their money into anything that has to do with renewable energy. So funds are going into renewable energy. There's a universal acceptance of the need to reduce CO2 emission due to climate change. So we must, even if we're seeing money coming in a little bit now, we must have a plan to transit into clean energy. And we're waiting to see what that transition will look like.
2023's fight to define Nigeria's soul, says Tinubu. 2023, Obi replies to Ludo, says, I've governed as a trader, you govern as professor. Kyari canvasses flexible energy transition for Nigeria and others. ASU begins protest against no work, no pay policy. Forex, Nigerians should determine what's appropriate for Nigeria, says IMF. NCC sets new FG spectrum license for $273.6 million operators kick. Kuka cautious supporters don't die for politicians. Court stops Nigeria as takeoff. 2023, stand with Khan. We stand with Khan on the Muslim ticket, says Catholic Knights. Okay.
So I
most of the stories here.
Yes,
let me
just
take
the Knights quickly, in a very short story. So the Knights of Saint Mulumba, Nigeria, saying that they are throwing their weight behind the position of the Christian Association of Nigeria on the Muslim ticket. You know, Khan has said that they were not in support of that. So they had a gathering, and then they were fielding questions from journalists, and they said that they are in support of whatever Khan has, said. They are supporting Khan's position, that they have a lot of their members who they, advise to get into politics. And when they get into politics, they really can't detect where they have to face or who they have to follow. But whatever Khan says, they are going to do. And they're going to be having another meeting where they will deliberate on advocacy, ensuring that everything is done within justice, fairness, and equity.
Okay, so the IMF representative in Nigeria, Mr. Ari Eisen, says that, a clear autonomy for the CBN when it comes to issues of determining what our foreign exchange will be, our monetary policy will be, is what is the gateway out of these issues of foreign exchange wahala that we are having, the up and down of the dollar to the naira. And he says that the CBN needs to be able to decide monetary policies in the country. Issues around foreign exchange regimes are complex, and it should be their total. And I don't think, I wanted to read to the end to see if there's any other body that determines that. But, of course, we might have other ways that this is determined. But I think clearly it should be the prerogative of the CBN, and it should be done directly through the banks, and one straight single exchange rate should be what we have. And this back and forth growth is only giving a few ways to profit from the
Nobody took Kogi's story. Kogi winning the World Bank's fiscal transparency. He didn't take that. I would have liked to.
It was a very straightforward story.
We have to run. We don't have any other story that strikes anybody. Okay, I guess that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we return, have a sponsor segment from FBN Charitable Trust. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. These days, a lot of people engage in one form of philanthropical or charitable activity or the other. From feeding some communities to clothing and equipping school students and even helping out with medical bills of indigent citizens. The list obviously is endless. Most people want these activities to outlive them, as we've seen in other parts of the world. Today, we'll be getting some clarity on how your charitable initiatives can outlive you. Join us on the show is a private trust specialist, Mutiat Olatunji. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. It's good to be back.
So, I mean, when I read this, I was quite excited because we've always advocated on this table for wealthy Nigerians to participate in charitable organizations, which they do. But unfortunately, once they die, that's it. Kids just either sell up everything and just move on, and there's no continuity. So how would you say somebody who is doing something good, charitable, how can they sustain this?
Okay, the most viable tool to use is a trust. So what we advise people to do is to set up a charitable trust. And how does a charitable trust engagement between two parties? So if, for example, you want to engage in one form of charitable organization, you will be the settlor. FBN Quest trustees will act as the trustees, and you will name your beneficiaries. So your beneficiaries in this case are not your kids or your family. You can say, I really do not have any orphanage in mind, but I know that I want to give to the orphanage every Christmas. So I'm going to saddle you with the task of identifying orphanages that actually need help. Then you give them, if it's money you want to give them so amount on an annual basis, or just take clothing items, food items, diaper for their babies. You can give us that tax, and that's exactly what we'll do. And to ensure, so that you are comfortable and you know that we are doing what you asked us to do, we'll report to you on an annual basis. And you can also say, okay, you know what, I want to make it a bit more party-like for the children there. So let's have like an event. Let's invite people. All the funds will come from the trust. So you don't have to start disturbing yourself looking for the orphanages you want to go to or what initiative you want to do for them. So that's just an example.
So I have a charitable organization I'm trying to set up. So I have had this thing I do for teachers where I teach them on 21st century teaching methods, which I had been running with my own personal funds. But I now want to convert it into a charitable organization or non-governmental organization so that I can source for funds from outsiders. Now, how will that work if I want to put it under your charitable fund?
Okay, so the number...
Since I'm not the one putting the money myself.
Yes.
Now,
So there are two ways to go about it. You can still set up a trust. When you set up a trust, it takes the burden of you incorporating the NGO away from you. Because what we've seen most times is that even people that do these things, they set up NGOs. But the moment they pass on, what's the assurance that the other board of trustees will continue what you started? But if you set up a trust, and it's even easier that way, your trust is going to have its own trust account. So when you are asking for donations, nobody's sending money to your personal account. Everything is coming to the trust. And it makes it easier for people. They see that there's accountability. On an annual basis, you can request for your trust statements, and you can send it to them. So they can see the inflows into the accounts. They can also see the outflows. Another thing you can do is that in case you have international organizations that also want to fund your project or your charity, most of them are wary of just giving individuals money. What you can say is, okay, I have an existing relationship with FBN Quest trustees. We can set up a donor advisor. A donor advisor is where the international organization gives us the money, and then we disburse and oversee the project. So the money is not coming to you directly. They feel a bit more comfortable relating with an organization that is very accountable and has been in the business for a while, and we just sort it out and report back to them.
Let me stay on that for a minute, because so if an international organization, for example, gives the trust the money, you know, some organizations right now, from the money you get, you pay salaries, you have the, so would the trust pay those amenities, or would this be exclusively for
the project?
The project?
So it's the donor that will advise on that. If the donor wants staff to be paid from it, they will state it. But most often than not, they don't want to be involved in the running of the organization. It's just a project that they've identified, and that is just what they want you to do.
Okay, so if, for instance, a person wanted to set up a trust, not a donor arrangement, now what exactly would the choice of business that you would do with the funds be for people who have vertical missions as well? Again, if I wanted to set up a charity for maybe to help kids, what exactly would you do with that money? How would it run? Or do I have to continue to put in money every time? And what exactly is the kind of businesses do you have products that you sell?
Okay, so the first question I'll ask you is that what's your target for this charity? You want it to outlive you, obviously. If you want it to outlive you, on an annual basis, how much do you think you need to run whatever object? If it's to send kids to school, how much do you need for that? With that projection in mind, you can start making monthly, quarterly, or even annual contributions to the trust. The funds in the trust don't just sit, they are invested. So for example, there's the federal government Sukuk. We can put your funds in that. That is ethical investment. So we have different investments portfolios that we can put your money in. And some settlers will also even be specific. They will tell you, some people will tell you the exact type of investment they want you to put their money in. The most important thing is that there's return on investment. And for as long as you continue to make contributions into the trust can still live for a reasonable amount of time after you pass, once it is well funded.
So, I didn't know that we have something like this in Nigeria. It's really exciting for me because I realize that many people set up they have the ideas of doing charitable activities and they need to keep funding it. But with a trust, because I read about the Carnegies and the Ford Foundation and why they are sustaining it is because they had a trust. So they put this 1 million whatever into a trust and the money keeps growing. So you are actually doing your charitable activities with the interest and not really the capital.
With the capital.
Please, can you break that down? So what is the money you can put in and like how much would the interest be? Would it be enough to sustain a little project consistently over time?
Okay, so it still boils down to what exactly is the project and what's the capital, what's the annual budget for that project. When you're able to determine what the annual budget is, we can now sit down with you to say, okay, for us to get this return on an annual basis, this is the initial capital contribution that you need. Okay. Even if you don't have that initial capital contribution now, you can scale it in such a way that in the next 4 or 5 years, you are sure that you will have that capital that can be invested and only the return on investment will be sustaining whatever objects that you have in mind.
Long-term perspective.
So if they're interested, they want to know what's the starting point? Do they come to you or do they call?
They can call. The phone number is on the screen. They can just give us a call. We'll sit down with them, discuss with them, and we'll take it up from there. But the most important thing is ensuring that once you have this idea, have a trust in place. That's the only way you can give back to the society in a sustainable manner.
The child of so somebody dies, right? He wanted to give XYZ charity, but the children are completely opposed to it, and they are the ones running fund. They're supposed to continue the funding. So when the children stop funding it, you can't continue the charity. What do you do to forestall that?
The capital is still with them, right?
So once you have a trust, that's why it's good to set up a trust whilst they are still alive.
Capital is there.
Yes,
so
the
capital
capital is
funding
there.
It's generating.
Exactly. So it is totally outside the purview of your children. So whether or not, I know that we're in the era where everybody's jackpotting. So whether or not your children are here, what you've started will continue. So it will continue. Fantastic. It would always be there. As long as the trust is
before you go, please, do you have to register when your account is ready, or you can set up a trust pending when maybe the official account for the project is ready?
Okay, so when you say official accounts now, once you set up a trust, your trust comes with an account. So you don't have to start doing all the bank or going to bank asking you for your incorporation documents and all of that. Once you set up a trust, you have an account with us.
You know why I love this conversation with you guys? It's because there are lots of wealthy people that have lived. They've done so much. Their children have jackpot. They have 3, 4, 5 houses. They know their children are not coming back to these houses to live.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. So if they come to you, for example, if they sell off the houses, have the fund, deposit it with
They don't even have to sell off the houses. That's the good part.
You don't have to sell off the houses.
You can move the assets to the trust.
Yeah, so
and
the asset
so
is
that
funding
the rental
trust.
income just continues to fund the trust.
There are several options.
There are actually a lot of
because
options.
when I go to Ife sometimes, going to go to see Popsi or to go to Ekiti, houses are there, kids are built, they've gone.
Nothing is happening.
The houses are just abandoned.
Empty.
Empty house, even in Lagos, abandoned houses because people have died. They didn't do a proper handover to their children. So these things are important for us to document it.
Children are not interested.
They've all jackpot. They all do that. They don't care. They don't care all the investment. So it's fantastic that this is a fantastic initiative.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, give us another, just a summary of everything you said so that they make sure that we hear you properly.
Okay, so I'll start by saying that we all need to start actively thinking of giving back to the society. That's the only way we can ensure that our legacies outlive us.
Yeah.
And that's the only way we can sleep well at night, knowing that you've done something, God has blessed you, and you've given back to your society. And the best way to do that, to ensure that all of these things outlive you, is to set up a charitable trust. So reach out to us at FBN Quest Trustees so that we can assist you in putting a proper structure in place for you to give back to the society now that you're alive and even when you're no more.
That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, move on to our hot topic of the day. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we see quite a few stories online that catches our attention. And it's always important for us to bring some of them to our conversation, because we try to learn from these experiences. So a young lady recently left her 9-month-old marriage because she said that it was based on deceit. According to her, the man lied that he was previously divorced with children, and they got married without her knowing that, having that information. But she did also testify that he was the best husband. I mean, it was the best 9 months of her life. He was such a good lover, and he was indeed a good man. But then she says because she cannot continue her marriage on deceit, she chooses to leave. Now, that was quite an interesting perspective because from the culture that we grew up in, they will tell you that once in this kind of situations, you have to, what was that, or something like that? Or something.
Forgive and move on.
Forgive and move on, and what is a whole marriage worth losing because somebody lied and now he has even accepted his lie and he's willing to stay with you, but still it's quite unusual. So it's a conversation we should have because as we try to, we're evolving and we're becoming new people, and it's important for information and learn from each other's experiences. So if you would like to join the conversation, call us on 08127053687, 09139076948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, interestingly, I ran this by someone recently, I think it was yesterday, and of course, it was the wrong person because she's an older person. She's like,
This small thing.
But in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, for you, it's a small thing, but for a millennial, or for somebody who is modern today, it's not such a small thing. What are your thoughts on this? Bisi, we have to start.
Yeah, so there's something a friend of mine always says, that if somebody can lie with one thing, the person can lie with so many other things. This is just the one that you have found out. If you are going to quickly forgive and move on, that's fine. But be rest assured that other lies will come out. Because if they can lie consistently for I don't know how long the marriage was, and covered it up so well that you did not sense it, they were comfortable living a lie with you, trust me, there are other lies that will come out. And it's just a matter of time. You will come back to this conversation again. So I would, advise that you sit down and have a conversation. Ask the right questions. Why did you think the truth will hurt me? If, for instance, that's your excuse, because we hear, women don't like the truth. Don't tell them the truth. You see a man who's cheating and just feels, what you don't know will not kill you. I take it away from my wife. I respect my wife. I don't do this. Once you tell women the truth, that's the end and all that. That assumption that women cannot handle the truth is a huge fallacy. And I think it takes off that ability for a woman to think and make decisions when you keep pushing a lie because you think that person cannot handle the truth.
Okay, let me come back to you.
Okay.
Because I want to hear your initial thoughts on this first. Okay, what do you think? Do you think it was right for her to say she's throwing away a 9-month-old marriage, which she also attests to the fact that he's a fantastic man. He's a good man, he's a good husband, and she's like, I'm leaving you not because you're a bad person, but because I can't build this on a lie. What do you think about that?
Lying is a bad thing. It doesn't mean that everybody that lies is a bad person. However, the bedrock of every marriage is truth. Your love can go up and go down in marriage, but truth is what holds your marriage together. Like, I know this person has my back. I know whatever you say, I don't need to question it. I don't need to look behind my back. I don't need to be looking into your phone. Once truth is shaken in the marriage, it's like you have destroyed that marriage. You're just cohabiting. So it takes a lot of bravery, a lot of confidence to walk away from it. And I'm so, I feel like she should be celebrated. Like this is confidence. This is my life. I don't want to live my life on a lie. And I'm happy that she did not demonize him. It took a lot of maturity. Some people would take that drama and turn it into my world has ended. She acknowledged he's a good man. He lied about this thing. I cannot trust him again.
Do you think it's easier because there's no children involved?
Many people manage marriages because they feel like, what would happen? What would people say? I cannot continue. I'll just manage. You find out things. You find out he's secretly married. You find out he has children. You will stay there. I think that it has a lot to do with the kind of person, the kind of woman in that relationship or man in that relationship. I feel that this is a strong woman. I pray she finds love again, or if it is possible, she's able to reconnect with this man, because she already mentioned that for now, she just cannot think of having a relationship with him. She will love him from afar. But I want us to, I don't want people to, they castigated her on social media that was there, somebody lied, and you say he loves you, you cannot forgive, what's there?
Okay,
What's there is he lied, and that for me is a big deal.
Okay, let me come to you, Nima. Let me hear your thoughts, because I'd like to hear your thoughts on this.
You choose your battles, neither they live this life. You see, if you have a good thing, why not focus on that small good thing than focus on a lot of bad things? It's like looking in a white paper and there's just that dot of the lie, and you focus on only that dot of the lie. I like that she's matured enough, because most people are not magnanimous in anger. She was magnanimous to acknowledge his good sides. And I looked at it and said, if you find the truth sayers, they don't have good sides sometimes. You know, the most religious persons sometimes they can't be good husbands. The holiest of people can't be good wives. Sometimes people come with their personality for you to find a kind-hearted partner in marriage is work in itself. Forgive that small thing. Especially for the 9 months marriage, 9 months marriage thing. He had kids outside. Hold on, no. I don't want to cough.
Now one for you.
How is he taking care of those children? Do you know what his past was like, telling other women he tried to move on with? That, you know, I had children, how they reacted? What's caused that? Because if you focus on that, three children...
There could have been a reason why he kept quiet.
There could have been a reason. And he didn't lose his personality. If you're clear that he wasn't acting out a good man for you, you are so certain that you yourself said, if this was the best relationship, just this one lie, you know, and you have already found out. Imagine the people who died, whose husbands died, before they find out they are perfect match husbands. You know, lied all their lives. So how do you deal with it? Because what we are going to see over time is that men will not decide, okay, let me not be telling anybody, or break off and abandon children from former marriages. He was clearly divorced. He wasn't in a marriage and in a relationship with you, know. He was clearly divorced. We go choose the one we go fight to. What I would not forgive is that he abandoned those 3 children after the divorce, that he wasn't maintaining the wife. All of those questions I would ask, I will clarify it. Once I don't clarify them, this marriage will continue. Because imagine, in fact, a week to my wedding, a friend asked me that question just out of the blue. I remember her, Dele just came and said, madam, you want to marry? What if you find out that your husband has a child? I said, we go collect children. I did not even think it. It was just out of the spur, because I would not lose a good thing over a past. Okay. It has to be something that affected me directly.
Please, there is no excuse for a lie. You know why? Because women marry men with children. If it was a woman that had children, we would understand. When you're bringing a woman home that has had kids, your parents will question, ask a lot of things. Even when the woman is older than you, they will ask a lot of questions. They don't like that. But a man in Africa, there's no excuse for that lie. People will jump on him. So he knows the reason people have not been jumping on him. And what makes you think that niceness is not a compensation for the lie he has told? What makes you think he's a really good man? He could have been compensating you and treating you nicely because he knows that he's hiding something somewhere. That could be why you are seeing a good man. And also, a lot of women, because they have been badly treated by so many people, when they now meet someone who just smiles a little, they assume he's a good person because that's all they know. Ask yourself questions. If he's really a good man, he would have brought it out to you. This is it. Should we continue or should we not? That's the
The reason why we
what do you
find
call
this
a good
interesting
man?
because if we look at this just 15, 20 years ago, if this kind of situation happened, everybody, the family will be like, are you okay? We should be has divorced this woman. So what exactly is your headache exactly? Because that's the conversation we would have had 20 years ago. But it's interesting, and I think
we're
I'll go back to how we've changed. How women today, young women say, you know what?
We want
yes,
better.
They're divorced.
Yeah.
They are demanding much better. They are
Yeah,
demanding more.
better.
They're increasing the standard of the kind
For
of men
themselves.
that they want. So I think this is also feedback.
For men.
This is feedback.
Tell us how it is.
To especially the new generation men that listen, these girls ain't playing.
I think it's payback you guys are doing.
It's not
No.
So,
payback.
wait.
But
No.
let me stay on your side. Let me stay on your side. Let me because all of us cannot
I want
be
to
against. I'll stay on your
expand on
side.
this, my
So in
feedback.
staying on your side, I mean, I hear you, and I think I agree that the truth is that maybe she was too hasty. This is something that can be resolved. Yes, he lied. People lie. Even you as a person lie. We all lie. Auntie, I'm sure. Wait, Auntie,
solution?
I'm sure would have lied at some point. So lying is everybody's
There is
lying.
lie and there is lie. There's lie. There are different grades of. There is lie of this.
Lie na lie.
I did not.
Why
There is
you dey-
Lie is lying.
there is
Why you dey
lie
grade
and
lie?
there is different grade
Of lie.
You,
Sin
Why
is
you
sin
dey
and
grade
you
lie?
dated.
Sin is sin.
You
you know.
all through dating, you hid 3 children,
A whole
3 grown
They
children.
didn't date. Let's
No.
break down this relationship.
Okay.
Talk about wait.
See,
This
you married
particular
9 months.
relationship.
You married 9 months, and he never came out. Like you never mentioned it.
Tokwe.
What happened was he took your mother-in-law to blot out. He slip of tongue. Happened to the mother-in-law to mention that there were 3 children.
Chineke, whole 3.
What you don't kill me finish with that now.
A whole
You will kill me.
Hey,
You will
this
sacrifice
marriage-
me.
This marriage itself was celebrated for the shortest courtship. This marriage that we are talking, the one we are now analyzing, was celebrated for the shortest courtship. We met US to Uganda, somewhere across the African country. And, you know, he just came in and boom,
And he could not talk.
and wedding. Me, I don't know whether they could talk, but I believe that there was no time enough for talk. Because the
Nima.
thing just happened like that.
It was
But wait,
deliberately
guys,
being
This
deceptive.
is not me trying to justify, you know,
something
But
wrong.
I'm saying that do we kill a rat with a
sledgehammer.
sledgehammer?
Well, this one is rat, so this one is lion.
No,
It's your
Tokwe.
choice.
Okay, so we're going to
Divorce is not the only divorce is not the only resolution to this.
Good man. He lied. How do we weigh? That's the conversation
Good
we have.
is subjective.
After the break, we'll be right
We'll
back.
be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this young lady who decided to leave a 9-month-old marriage because her husband didn't tell her that he was previously divorced and have children. And she did attest to the fact that he is a good man, but she rather just love from afar. I know lots of mothers and grandmothers will be rolling their graves in this kind of situation. They're wondering, what
children of this day?
What have we
because
not
there's
seen
what
under
kind
the
of
sun?
children of this age.
What have we not seen under the sun? What is new under the
But
sun?
we've heard, I've heard a story of a man who was married to an American, had about 2 or 3 children also. They had issues, maybe even separated, came to Nigeria to start a whole new life, married somebody fresh. The woman, maybe they got into about 5 or 6 years into marriage before she now found out that there was a previous woman who they had divorced and had children. Now, she didn't leave because according to her, she's now the legal wife because he had actually divorced that one, and that one is in America. So she was willing to accept these children as her husband's children. But in this situation, on the flip side, why do you think this one wasn't willing to say, you know what? Okay, yes, you lied. Because I love you, I will take the children as ours, but you know, I need time to cool
payback
off. This is really bad, but you know what? I will cool off.
You know, now women are becoming masculine and women are asserting positions and doing their own back. All the things that were done to their ancestors, female ancestors, they're doing their own back. Because men in those days will not accept even that I had an abortion. I had a relationship that led to pregnancy. And that's a past matter. Once they said it those days, you have aborted before. It's like you have died before. You have resurrected. I cannot marry a dead person. That's how men used to react. So it's now time. Women are so empowered now to say, well, 3 children? How can you keep 3 children in secret? In those days, the way they used to do, the way I would have done it, the way they used to do it those days, I'll bring those children. First of all, bring your children inside. The responsibility you will take. If the circumstances do not allow you bring those children, you will put those responsibilities because let your child head not go and block my child from coming.
There are many proverbs that just further the patriarchal, yes, disempowers women and enforces
I'll come to you. Let me take this one from Abuja. Good morning.
I don't tire for Nima.
Good morning, Abuja from Abuja. Steve, are you there?
Yeah, good morning,
You're
everyone.
live.
Good morning.
Go ahead, please.
Good morning. All right, thank you. This is an interesting one, and I'm a married man with 4 kids, and based on experiences, I think what I'm going to just throw into what you guys are discussing. I'm going to give you guys 3 principal things. Number 1, when you are dating, courtship, friendship is a different thing. Number 2, you cannot know everything about who you are dating within courtship and dating or friendship, whatever you may call it. And number 3, by the time you get married, it's a different ball game to whom you think you've known for years or for months, irrespective of how long you guys were dating. Now, for this thing that happened, it's a 50-50 thing. She's not. The fact that she according to what I heard one of you saying, that she was hasty in dissolving it, emotions play out, anger can play out, and psychologically, that was what just pushed her. That's why a lot of people take decision and later they regret. And I just heard you people saying this just now and again, that she attests to the fact that the guy is a good guy. So she's not even supposed to do that in a hasty manner. Now, this goes to everybody. Haven't seen what has played out. No matter whom you are getting married to, get ready to get divorced and be ready to take decision inside the marriage. You must take that decision before the marriage, because a lot of things will come out during marriage that you don't know during courtship. So you must be bold enough, both the lady and the man, to be mature to
Thank you very much,
so that
Stephen,
you
for your
remain in your
perspective.
marriage. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let me come to you. Do you think this woman really, sincerely, wholeheartedly loved this man? Because there could be a point where maybe he was the guy that loved more than the woman. Because if your love was at par and like was equal, maybe you won't make a drastic decision. So you know what, I'm out of here. But when there's some relationships where the man's love is so much more that you are just there because he's a good guy, and now you now found this, it's easy for you to work out. Do you think that could have been a factor?
I think that, you see, when we start comparing who loves more, or who loves less, we are trying to quantify love. That for me is not, it can't work. You really cannot quantify love. I think that you should love yourself enough. You should love yourself more. I cannot love my husband more than I love myself. I cannot love my husband and then die because I'm inside the love. I must love myself enough to survive so that I can contribute meaningfully to that marriage. So I don't think it's a case of whether she loves the husband as much as the husband loves her, or maybe the husband loves her more. It's a case of I love myself and I want to preserve myself, and I don't see how I will be in this marriage going forward without living in fear and living in anxiety and being watchful. And that was a decision that took a lot of courage to take, and I acknowledge that she made a decision that worked for her. You can't tell me how and what I should take in my marriage. Some people take things that you'll be saying, lie, I will never take this one. When you enter, you take it, or you even take worse. And some people will say, I cannot stand this. This is a deal breaker for me. I'm not going to deal with it. You can decide to sleep with everybody, but when it comes to my parents, don't talk to my parents anyhow. You'll be wondering, but your parents were the one that looked for insult, but don't talk to my parents anyhow. And that's a deal breaker, and that can lead to the head of the marriage. So for everybody, they know what is so important to them. But for me, universally, truth is the basis of marriage. Truth and trust. And if you don't have truth and you don't have trust in marriage, then you don't have a marriage.
Does it mean that everything is closed? Everything that
So
you
the
want to
thing is,
trust.
you know this patriarchy we talk about most of the time? It's unfortunate that it's women that have enforced patriarchy over the years. The men have been excused for so many bad behaviors over the years. And now women will call you out when you hold on to the right standards that you want for yourself. It's okay to get upset. It's okay to feel betrayed. It's okay to say, I'm carrying my bag, I'm taking a leave. I want to either separate so that I can think, go to a place where I can heal myself. It's like beating me and telling me not to cry. It's okay. So this woman now has been heartbroken. We're not even looking at that direction. We're saying whether love, he love him, he have him, he not have him. She's heartbroken. She feels betrayed. This is somebody who probably they started that relationship and she said in her heart, she's going to build a home with this person. We are working together. We have a vision. Only for me to find out, see, there are some mistakes that you make without a physical landmark that can slide. You dated 100 people, you had so and so, and there was no landmark. To have children 1, 2, 3, and maybe they were all boys. That's a heavy landmark. And that woman needs to be given her time, as long as she wants to take it, to think for herself, to process, to heal, and decide, should I forgive and move on into the... Remember that she's going to come into that home, and she will love those kids. She will love those. She will have to deal with having those kids. Whether the kids are in or not, when they're making decisions for her own children later in life, they will consider those children. She has to play that role. So she needs to be in a right frame of mind to choose for herself whether she wants to play the role or she wants to take a walk. And nobody should judge her for it, I beg.
I think that was very well said and put together. And I think it makes a lot of sense because sometimes we overlook all that needs to go under. These are things, these are weightier issues that must be considered before accepting this situation.
Her being prepared for that, for what she's going to face when it comes to accepting his children. But I don't think that it is a magic wand thing. It's a process. Even if she was told while dating, she will meet those children, she will grow to love them. She will not just switch on to loving them. So it is a decision that is so you take in the calmest, most. They met on TikTok. They were married in a month. She was hasty to marry. And she was as hasty as she was to decide to enter it, to get out of it.
So that's a nature.
Life is not like that. So it's something that we can even fault in itself. And when you talk about this, we must love ourselves, we must love ourselves. There's a line, people don't draw this line of self-love anymore. There's a line that you cross and you're just selfish. There's a line you cross and you're plain, simple selfish.
I agree.
You will not think of every other person but yourself. And in life, we cannot be all alone in every decision that we make. It must affect other people. And you must put that in perspective.
So
this woman has come in and admitted by herself that this is a person who puts every other thing first, except this disclosing. He did not bury these children. No. He just didn't disclose these children. I am not justifying what he has done. I'm saying it's a forgivable thing. It's something you can move on from and even be a better person. Why do you want to destroy life and break the calabash, pour the water away, everything because of this one lie? The same you who wasn't calm enough to date or give yourself time to marry.
So I can see there are two sides of the story, which is great. Let's take a few comments and wrap up on this.
So someone said that... someone was asking that if it was assuming it was the other way around, Adeoye Oladayo says, if it was the other way around, the man no go agree, continue with the marriage if she was the one who with kids before marriage and hid it from him. Someone else said that she should renegotiate rather than ending the marriage. That's from Esther Maris. A woman says the guy should have just told the truth. Adedoto Adekmoju said if they had courted for long, definitely the guy would have told her. I wonder how long it takes to say, I have 3 children.
Interesting. The lady said that if he had actually told her in the beginning, she would have still liked him.
He's just a liar.
Olorogun says, I discovered through my wife's Facebook conversation that she had previously married for 4 years and divorced. I didn't immediately ask her. I waited for over a year before asking her. She denied but later admitted. It didn't change anything for me. I still love her and adore her.
That's a
lie.
No, but that is the style.
What did they talk? What did he say? You have not seen such a thing.
Where a woman will get married first, I will not hide it. We'll hide it from her. That's
Morayo.
That's highly unlikely.
I know someone who was married
A
first.
woman.
A woman.
No, how do you do that?
She was married
Hide her
first.
children.
She did not just hide the marriage and the divorce. She hid the children.
How do you hide? If it's one child, I understand, but children.
The uncle was carrying children on his, seeing children on his mother-in-law's back, and they were admitting they were her last borns, and they were her grandchildren. Wow. I've seen that one. I have seen weddings scatter in the
You've seen too much.
I see too much.
You've seen too much.
Wait. If my neighbors were watching today, they will remember that wedding. Zosika Park wedding.
But a woman
that scattered on the wedding day for something like this.
A woman that can do that is a red
What are you saying?
Wickedness.
Let me go on a break.
It's a liar.
There's nothing we have not seen on that.
We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we've been talking about this same issue, and I want us to wrap up, but it seems like there's still more angles. And the angles is the fact that, you see, sometimes when we celebrate stuff like this happening to others, we try to see it from their own perspective. When we bring it home where you have a sister or you have a brother that is going through this, how would you advise your sister? Would you say, dump the marriage and move on? Or would you say, let us see how we can work it out? That's really, let's bring it home. Is it possible?
Don't be quick to react.
Eh?
Don't be quick to react.
Don't be quick to react.
Yeah, I get the don't make hasty decisions. Emotional decisions are often wrong decisions that you might regret. Take your time. But I would ask, how is she doing? I'm not going to ask, how would you feel about what people will say? I would not ask, this is what people will say. I will not ask, this is how your parents will feel. My concern is, how are you feeling? Can you stay in this marriage? Would you still be able to look into the man's eye and believe if he says he loves you? Would you be able to continue with this relationship? It is about this person. Ola did this, wrote online that this lady has got a marker on her head, a divorcee. If I were her, I would have stayed.
Wow.
That's society dictating what you should do.
Exactly.
So because you've divorced,
Ola did a lot
it
of
means that
society.
you are a package. Because you're a divorcee,
Hey.
divorcee is not a marker on your head.
Hey.
It's a reality of what happened to you, and you have moved on, you're stronger, you bring a lot of value to the table.
Absolutely.
Being a divorcee, and that's why people hide these things. Please, for men, this is a major lesson. He loved a woman, and from hiding this truth, it's cost him his marriage. If only he just said the truth, he might not have lost this marriage. We should stop labeling people based on their past experiences.
Yeah.
They had children, they divorced. Whatever it is, she's still a human being, he's still a human being. Take him at the value he brings to the table.
Okay.
So, I think we all should learn to stop defining ourselves by the caps that we wear. That's where the problem is. We derive our sense of identity from the many roles that we play. I am a wife. I am a doctor. I am the waker. I am a Morayo Afolabi Brown. That's your name. I am a presenter. I am a TV host. I am a scientist. And so when life situations happen and you have to drop one of those caps, or those caps are taken off you, you lose your sense of self-worth. You think that you are no longer anybody in the society because you have been defined by those caps you wear. I am Obiajulu Olabisi Ugbo. I was not born to be a wife. I was not born to be a mother. I was not born to... It's part of the caps that I wear and the roles that I play. And any of them can go tomorrow. I am a TV presenter today. It may go tomorrow. I am a medical doctor today. It may go tomorrow. Those are roles that we fit in. Should we derive our sense of self-worth when any of those roles drop because of life situations? I think we need to calm down in, tagging people divorcee.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying this. Tagging people, oh, you have left your marriage. You are no longer anybody meaningful in the society. I think that is all shades of wrong.
Okay.
However, you asked the question, if this person was my sister.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, we have to
ahead.
wrap up on this, but I think the truth is, I think we're all saying the same thing in different ways. Yes, we agree that she should be allowed to make her own decisions, and everybody, these kind of decisions are relative. You react based on how your own experience is, which is true. The other part of it is that sometimes don't make hasty decisions, because either we might still end up with the same conclusion, where after taking your time, separating and healing, you realize that this man is deceptive in different ways, and I choose not to go. So you might still end up at the same result.
There's a
but it's
worst
the way.
part of it.
Yeah.
You're in love with someone you didn't want to forgive. Not that you are unable to. And then you move on. I'm just saying, wait, you move on. And you find people you think you love, but you keep looking back to the perfect love that you thought you had, that you didn't forgive. This woman has not found closure. This thing, everything's just all shades of wrong.
For now,
The guy did wrong.
according to you.
But you did what's wrong. You don't do two wrongs, don't make any right.
No, it's
That's
not
where
for
I
you
see
to
it.
judge, no.
She would continue to look back. She will continuously look back for the rest of her life.
may
Because she admitted, this love I enjoyed. This love, if I would love from afar. I do love from afar. So now you will now carry ex's belly to your new marriage.
No.
If you're not careful.
That's
I'm
judging
just
her
saying.
outcome
I'm not
for her.
judging. I'm not
That's
judging. I'm
her
saying.
outcome. She can
if-
still move on and not look
if
back.
you are
It
in
was
love-
good while it lasted.
If you are
but
in
now
love
I have to
with
move
your
on.
partner, your husband, forgive him.
Okay.
That's
It's
your
good
own-
to
that's
forgive.
it.
But can we give people time to do that?
Forgive
forgiveness?
means that you
Can we
can
give people
make
time?
it work.
Can we
No,
forgive
give
her and
people
still
time?
separate?
Yes.
No, that's
Can
not
we give people
forgiving.
time?
No, you can't
Forgiveness
That's
takes a
breaking the
process.
table.
It takes a process. Can we allow people go into their own process? It took me time to forgive certain people that hurt me. I had to go through that process. Don't shorten it for them, because that's what happens. They will not start living with resentment
you kill
in that
them?
marriage.
No.
They will start living with resentment in that marriage because they've not been given
Stop
time to
making it
process
seem impossible
and
to
forgive.
forgive
I'm
possible.
not saying it's
You,
impossible
you
to
do not
forgive
have
him
to
and
be in
listen to me.
resentment of people that you forgive.
No,
Yeah.
you're not
You
getting
don't
the
have to
point.
be
So
resentment
when you
of
cut
them.
short the process, you will live with
How
resentment.
the process one be
You-
now?
Okay, wait.
It's different for different people. It's different for different
Let us
people.
hear each other. So you're saying, yes, you need to forgive, but your own forgiveness
It's
is
instant.
forgiving is maybe you
No,
should
no, no.
forgive
No.
while you are in that marriage.
It's a
while you are
process
there.
itself, but you
Process
can be
within.
there.
You are saying you process without being in that marriage.
When you don't
and take
come
as
from
much
that
time.
to be
So we'll
in
both
or
agree
be
that we should
without.
forgive at some point.
Yes.
Forgiveness is given, but I don't need to forgive you and stay with you. I can forgive you and move out of that space, and that should also be okay. No judgments.
We need to wrap up. That's what we can take, guys. I think on the nutshell, we all agree that the lady needs time to process what happened, which is understandable. It's been 9 months of her life. Now, she can therefore choose to process it outside or even within, because some women will choose to forgive you within the home where they're still there, they're hurt. They'll give you time within the house, well, at least they still have their home. But this woman says, no, she'd rather stay out of it to process. Maybe eventually she might move back to this man.
Yeah.
We don't know, but the point is that people should be allowed to heal, and men should understand that deceit
want to.
no longer holds sweet. And Nigerian women,
Expecting higher
today,
standards.
our women today will not
Forgive,
allow deceit
forgive.
in any marriage. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we'll bring in the woman we love. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. She is a passionate, inspirational, and prolific international speaker, a thought transformation coach, teacher, solutionist, and DEI strategist. She's also intense about helping people renew their minds so that they can transform their lives. Welcome with us, Kemi Oyeshola, aka Coach Kemi. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, Coach.
Yeah, mother, grandmother, mother-in-law, the whole works. Well, good to have you on the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Before you came on, we're discussing something. I would like you to just hear your thoughts on it. A young lady that said that she was living a 9-month-old marriage because she felt that her husband deceived her. He didn't tell her that he was divorced in the past and had 3 children. She did acknowledge that he is a good man. I mean, she was the best 9 months of her entire life, that he loved her, but she cannot build something on deceit. And one of the conversations we're having is that how thought process have changed in this new age. The way young people are thinking this way is different, because 20 years, 25 years behind, if this happens, she's divorced. What's the issue? Take the children and stay in your home. But how has it transformed? Or do you think this is the right thinking, or do you think we can begin to? How do we understand this new way of thinking for women, especially?
Every single person, we cannot think beyond what we know. So what we know is the same as information. So the information you have will determine what you think on. You can't think on nothing. You've got to have something to think on. So obviously, this woman, I'm divorced. Okay. So I've been separated and divorced since 2006. I think it's a beautiful thing. It's painful. I still recall the pain. But if I were her, if she can say, oh, he loves you very much, I would sit with him. Why didn't you tell me this? Why didn't you? I would get into him. But that's how I think. And because he loves me so much, that is a price. That's it. Okay, we're going to parent these children together. Right. But we're going to have a deep conversation. You didn't have to hide that from me. Right. You shouldn't have. So the way young people think, people like my daughter, they don't take any mess. But again, is how they think. I remember my mom saying to me, Kemi, if you told me you were having problems in your marriage, I would have told you to stay. I thought on it, and I thought, I prefer this Kemi to that Kemi, because I did not like who I was becoming, and it was a whole mess. He's alive and well and remarried, so I'm not going to go into it. But I prefer this person. I thank God for that path. I would not be here today. You would not know me. I probably would be dead because I tried suicide twice. So it's just not worth it. And suicide, to me, people have attacked me for this, is stupid. It's dumb. I did it. It's selfish. It's just silly. It's a lack of thinking. It's just nonsense. So you can hang in there, and you can draw the love of God. I'm a Christian from within. I like that's something you said, similar to what you said, and I can love you past that, because who am I? I've done all kinds of things. At 2 o'clock, God forgive me, I won't do it again. 2:05, I'm doing it again. But I have the, God will still be here. Well, I'll come back. God, I'm sorry. Then who do I think I am? What can anybody do? I was in my marriage for 16 and a half years. And the problem started after year 1. But I stayed there because I kept saying to myself, there isn't anything I can't forgive. There isn't anything I can't forgive.
Until you got to the point where you had to protect your own self.
No, not just that. I told him to go. Hoping, okay, go away and just think on this matter so that we can fix it. He said, I ain't coming back to you no more. I said, all right, sir. That was painful in it. But I'm grateful because my path is already marked. I may not get it, but it's okay.
I like the fact that you started with people will not do beyond what they know and what they think.
Yes.
My pain is, you know, we all have our different lenses and we see life from different perspectives, where we now begin to judge a particular action because of where we stand is where I have a problem with most of us. So we have seen this situation, and we should be asking questions. Like you said, she should ask her husband questions. Why did you do this? Why did you hide this? Why? We also should be asking questions. Why, at what point did you notice this? How did you notice? Did he confess, or it was a slip? What led to this? How are you feeling? What actions do you think you need to take? How do you help us build a sort of compassion when things happen to other people and not quickly push them into doing something we feel will justify us as a society?
It shows the limitation of our knowledge and information on a simple but very profound thing called love. We don't really get it. The scriptures say greater love has no one than to die, give himself. That is it. But today, you say, if you love me, you die for me. Hey, you think I don't love my life? I'm not dying for you. We don't get it. You see, love goes the distance. Love does not stop. Love does not say, you've done this, I will never do this. Who do we think we are? Where did we drop from? You haven't done something? Even to our kids, we do stuff. And they will carry it and they won't say anything. Then when they are 21, Mom, you know, you did this to me one day when I da-da-da-da-da. And that child stayed there. And that child was still laughing with you, and it's so painful. We perish for a lack of knowledge, not die. Not die, that's a different. We are totally messed up for a lack of knowledge. So we should take time to go and study, literally study this love thing. What does it really mean? In my marriage, I thought it was all emotion. I was led by emotion. You didn't do this for me. It was all emotion. I was giving birth to our second child. I hate you. All emotion. Emotion has its place, but you can't live by it. Neither can you be led by it. You gather yourself. The most attractive human being is the person that can be hurt and still stay in the face of it and say, I love you anyway.
Are we not all those humans?
Okay, no.
Are we not more
please.
Don't we go through pain to birth children and we still love them?
Yes.
Is that not what a mother is?
Because I want to.
So I hear you, and you know, I'm trying to balance how I am so courageous because I will sit in that pain. You know, and it's courageous for me to face that pain and live with the pain. But it's not courage for me to walk away from the pain.
It's courage for you to do whatever you want to do.
So, because when we were analyzing the situation of this woman, I celebrated her courage for being bold enough to walk out of a marriage that everybody would say you had a fairy tale. She came out on social media to say fairy tale girl who's getting married, and she was bold enough to still say that I discovered this lie, I can't live with it. And we've seen many women stay in pain and die in pain because they did not have the courage to move. But suddenly when this happened, everybody is castigating this woman. Everybody is insulting her. Everybody feels they know how she could have done it better and how she's not resilient by not staying. Can we talk to those women that have had the confidence to move on, but they are not getting the support? How do they get past that and continue to love themselves in their decision?
Hey, sister girl, you ain't going to get no support. It's not about anybody supporting you. If you walk away, and make sure you are beyond happy. If you stay, make sure you are beyond happy. Nobody is tying you anywhere. There is no support. Stop looking for support. That's what weakens us. Because you're looking for support from human beings. It shows the limitation of knowledge, information, and therefore thought. And thought leads to action. Thought leads to words. So get that information right. It's not about, they are supporting me. Nobody looked at me. Nobody gave. Get up. If you've got to live under the bridge to get yourself going, you are so full of value. You are so powerful. You don't even see it. There is a cup full, and you're just looking at, you only have one cup. There are no other cups. There is a cup. Do something with it. Even if it's half full, do something with it. That's just weak. Don't do that.
So I believe that, life is in stages and phases. And marriage itself is a phase. Mine will be 14 years next year, and I have seen life. I believe that what she's going through is one thing. Many more she would see, whether in that marriage or outside that marriage. So what kind of person should a person be for the next stage of life? Let's say this stage that she's at now, that stage where she needs companion. What kind of person, what are the values or characteristics that she needs to build up before she goes in? Because she will see things. This one is one. She will see, even next, she will see life will happen, things will come.
So hopefully, if she hasn't locked up her heart, we cannot trust this man again. I think men exactly. I think men are one of the most misunderstood and one of the most wonderful humans. Can you imagine this world? This only came after I separated.
Yes.
A few years later, and I started to learn. She needs to go to answer your question. She needs to go and meet life coach. Go and talk to, because sometimes you can't bring this thing out yourself. Somebody, you need to be talking with somebody and they need to be asking you why after everything you say, why? And then you begin to come around to, is that me? Is that what really? And hopefully, the problem I have with many clients is they're not ready. They want to come to you for help, but they are not ready to pay the price for transformation. It's a price, it's hard work.
Let me come to this angle, because there are lots of women that I've seen that they stay in marriage because the children, they stay and people tell them that, listen, yes, things are difficult, but find a way to manage because your mother made it work. And just like you said, you stayed. You had issues after a year later and you stayed. And we find that those who stay, they stay for the sake of peace, but the relationship becomes toxic for the children, especially. They see their children are seeing their parents fighting and having this. At what point do you think a woman must be able to weigh the options and say, I want to leave? Because, as you said, let's not depend on society, but as a human being, when do you think, because some people don't even get the opportunity, they're killed even before they get to that point. Yeah. So what does a woman do? How far should she go to the point to say, you know what, it's time to move on?
There isn't a number for the number of years you stay. I think I stayed too long, but again, that was limited to my knowledge, and so I was thinking a particular way. There are some fundamentals, as in foundational. So when you think of a foundation, you build a house on it. If it's weak, the house is not going to last. A bit of rain, a bit of. So it's the foundational stuff you need to look at. It's the foundational stuff you need to look at. If that is not in place, walk now. 1 month, 2 months, walk now. But before you walk, talk. Bro, this is what's happening. This is not the way it should be. Based on the principles you live by, I live by the scriptures. This is what the scriptures say. That's not what you're doing. How about me? Let's talk about this. Then
so you feel like there should be like what they call when companies
standards, values.
When companies are going to lay off now, they sort of have like an exit interview.
Yes.
So you're thinking even in marriage there should be like an exit interview where you really get a true picture of what went wrong.
There should be an interview before the exit interview, because the exit interview is you are going. We are not talking about anything. Yes. But let's talk about why I would think of going. I said he should go because it was a toss-up between I'm praying about my marriage, I'm praying about my salvation, I'm praying about my... I said, which kind of... Am I going to live again in this? No, please. I exit you and let me get my act together, my life with God right. That's primary. And I was married to my pastor. So I didn't want to be one of those, statistics. I said, big deal. My life was going down the drain. I could see a brilliant future that was going to take a lot of energy. I can't be doing, is it this? No, go. And my kids saw it. I didn't know they saw it. One was 13, one was 14, just turned 14. The other was going to be 13 a few months. And they said, oh, Mom, we saw, the elder said, Mom, I saw everything.
Oh.
And they both reacted so badly. At the end, when I came out, they got into me. And we're in the UK, they got into it. It was nasty.
Let me go to the
it's
fact
not
that
worth
you're a
it.
thought transformation coach. What does that mean, and how do you help people change their thinking?
Oh, okay. Let me first of all say it's different from mindset because there's a lot of that. So it's your thoughts that set your mind. So it depends on what you come to me with. But I focus on career and marriage, young people, women mostly. So you could come to me with business as well. I find that you cannot do anything without thinking. Nothing, absolutely. So when people say, I didn't think, yes, you did. Your subconscious, your reticular activating system is already recorded all this stuff. So you do it automatically, but you had a thought. And some of those thoughts are like your executive secretary saying, this is what Kemi does at 2 o'clock. Here you go. And that's what happens in your brain. So what I do is we talk about you. We go to the roots. I believe thoughts are the roots. If the roots are healthy, the fruits will be great. It's not a matter of pulling off the bad fruit. It's a matter of treating the roots so that everything will grow beautifully. That's how I work.
So I know that coaching is something that we're waking up to, and we really need it. Many people don't know that the statistics of suicide in Nigeria has really increased. We're no longer the happiest country in the world that we used to feel like we were, and many people are resorting to killing themselves. So I want us to talk to, at what point do you start thinking of talking to a coach? What are the things what thoughts should flash through your mind and you'll be like, I need a coach. I need to talk to someone. I need to change the way I'm thinking. I don't like these thoughts in my head.
Exactly, that's it. I need to change the way I'm thinking. I don't like the thoughts in my head. I feel overwhelmed. Everything is not working for me. Once you get into that negativity, you need help. But the problem, when I was going through my NLP coaching, we were taught you can't make people, you can't even force a child to come for coaching because they can shut you down. You can talk, they will attend everything, but they're not receiving anything. That's the thing about life. We have control over what we think. We need to decide that we need the help. We need to decide, and when you make that decision, then you come and you get the help, or you don't get the help. I'm done with being emotional about, hey, and they died, and they were there with you. Sorry, that was a choice they made. Sorry. But that was a choice they made. I did not make that choice for them. It's all the emotion that you keep saying. I'm here looking after my mom. She's had 4 strokes, but she's still walking. She just can't talk. She feeds herself, all that stuff. And yesterday, she was doing something naughty. I said, Mom, you can't do that. And I carried the tray of food away to bring it back. The carer said, if you go, and my mom got upset. I said, since when? I said, go. The carer said, please go. Say sorry. I said, because I did what? I said, why? I left. About 2-3 hours later, I came back. Are you ready for your food now? Hey, Mom, would you like your food? Okay, but why? Why did you do that? You too, Mom. You should have done that. Okay, please, eat. And then the carer said, you will not be happy if she does not. I said, you'll be shocked. I'll put on music and dance. She's eating, so you'll be happy. I said, nobody has control to decide whether I am happy or not. If she doesn't eat, it's into her body. It's not into mine. And it's out of her body. It's not into mine. So she has to make a choice.
Amazing. You know, some people will get to a point where they are realizing that they no longer need the thoughts in their head, that it's no longer serving them. Not a lot of people even realize that the thoughts have been creating their lives. So if you have somebody who comes to you who is even clueless, doesn't even know that it's the thoughts you have been wiring that has been giving you your life's experiences, how do you start to get them to even process the thoughts?
I go through an acronym I call READY, R-E-A-D-Y. First of all, you need to be ready or ripe. Are you really ready? You like a mango that's ripe? it changes color, texture, it droops, sometimes it falls, it is ready. Are you equipped with the thinking, with the notion in your heart that, okay, I need to make, are you equipped? A, are you available for the things you need to do? Because you may not be available to you. And D, you need to decide. Am I going to do what it takes or not? And it has to be a yes. I will do what I need to do.
Okay, thank you so much. I'd like that acronym ready. Thank you so much, madam, for coming with me. I think we learned quite a few things. That everything starts with a thought.
Yes.
And every action we do stems from a thought. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you. That is all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.